You are listening to the Wannabe Collective, your new variety podcast featuring every fandom that you could possibly think of. On the Wannabe Collective, all wannabes are welcome. Welcome, all fellow wannabes. Welcome to the show. You are listening to the Wannabe Collective. Today, we're doing a Beer Bros episode. I have with me my co-hosts. I have Clay. I have Colby. And we are the Beer Bros. And of course, we have Abby as well. Everybody, how are we feeling? It's episode 3, the third episode already. Like, it's established, it's happening, it's a thing. There's no escaping. We pretty much decided that Abby has to show up every single time. So, how are we feeling? Good. Very good. Colby, how are you feeling? I hope you're as chattery as you were last time because, you know, are you feeling the we've been pre-gaming the alcohol just a little bit, you know what I mean? To get Colby to open up. How are you feeling? Are you to that point yet?
Feeling like your mom.
My God. Yeah. Make sure you get up on that microphone just a little bit more, Colby. You know what I mean? Just so we can hear you. We can hear that beautiful voice.
I feel like your mom.
You're beat at the joke. And Abby, how are you feeling?
I mean, we're pretty chill. We'll see how tonight goes.
You notice I moved the sign. And we are recording as well on the old phone, you know, because this is going to be a video show. So you notice I moved the sign. How would you rate the vibe in this room now? Because last time you gave it, I think, like an 8.
I mean, I would still say a solid 8. Honestly, we're gonna see if I hit anything over here.
Yeah.
So like,
we're all elbows.
Yeah, that's what my wife says. It's too busy, is what she says. But you know, I say let me have an addition. You know, let me put an addition on, and then. You know, you can go from there. So
you need a man cave.
Yeah, it needs to be a straight up man cave.
If you get a man cave, then she can have the she shed, which is your sun porch.
The she shed. I've never heard that one before. That's amazing.
It's like the one. It's like that. What was it? State or it's like Farmers Only, or like no, not Farmers Only. The Farmers Insurance commercial where the she shed gets struck by lightning.
Yeah, and I don't. Well, that's the thing too is I don't watch a ton of TV, so I really don't even know what you're talking about. To be honest.
Oh, this is like commercial gold from like 2 years ago.
Commercial gold from 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely don't know what you're talking about. But that's okay. I'll have to leave. We'll look it up. It'll be great. Tonight we have a very interesting topic. We have a couple of topics that we're going to be recording. So that means, you know, you're going to have one episode's going to be decent. And then the next episode after that's going to be like a banger of an episode. Because we'll have, you know, 3 beers in this at that point. No, I mean, we split the beers between us, but we have 2 beers tonight that we're going to do for this topic. Of course, on Beer Bros, this is, you know, a show where we'll pick a topic and we'll have some beers and review some beers along with that, as well as having some witty banter back and forth. Our beers for this evening, Clay is sponsoring the episode because he's the one who brought the beer for this first episode. What do we have, Clay?
So for the first beer we're going to try tonight is a Iron Maiden exclusive lager. It's called The Trooper Premium British Beer, and it is charged with flavor.
So that's all the description that we have for it?
That is, let's see what the back says. The back says, Onward rode the goo. The 600. I'm an idiot. The charge of the Light Brigade, which the Iron Maiden song The Trooper took place at the Battle of Balaclava in 1854 during the Crimean War, when 600 British cavalry courageously charged the Russian artillery. This gallant but foolhardy... I said balaclava.
You said...
I said balaclava.
I thought it was baklava.
No, no, it is clearly balaclava.
Okay.
Balaclava.
Okay.
It just goes on about that battle.
Okay, so there's no flavor profile.
No, so this beer, it says it was launched in 2013. It says it's award winning, and it has over 15 million pints sold worldwide.
Well, here's the deal. That's about how many Iron Maiden fans are in the world right now. It's about 15 million, I would say, probably. And they're like, yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden beer, this has to be great.
So, and actually I'm wrong because this says that it's an ale.
Oh, it's an ale. Okay.
It's a golden ale with subtle hints of lemon, and it's brewed with Golding and Cascade hops.
Okay, so that doesn't sound too bad.
No, actually, it sounds all right.
Okay,
I
awesome.
have no idea where this was like the worst beer.
Yeah,
ever.
well, then hopefully expectations are about to be subverted. So hand that bad boy over so I can ask you guys some questions. So we're going to pop the top, as you can hear. And of course, Abby is not allowed to consume because she's not of age. But there he goes, a nice little pop. So it's been a couple weeks since we sat down to talk last time. What have you guys been up to?
Just working. We had Andy and Irene at our house, but they finally went home.
Andy and Irene is your
Our family.
yeah,
our
just your
uncle.
family because the listeners don't know who that is.
I mean, Andy's basically like your uncle as well. I would consider.
Andy
He lived at your house long enough.
Yeah, Andy and Irene. So we got pretty close to them, and we basically, I mean, we held each other. You know what I mean? No, I love Andy. He's like a big brother.
Yeah.
Honestly, and Clay gets the biggest pour since it's his beer and he brought it. Yeah, no, I love Andy and Irene. That's awesome. Have you been playing any games or doing anything geek-worthy, geeky, nerdy, whatever you want to call it?
Just Naruto.
Yeah, you were telling me about an episode. You were talking about Shino spying on Hinata.
No, he doesn't spy on her.
He's a creep. I mean, he's a creep. That never changes through throughout Shippuden.
Well, I mean,
Wait, you guys, wait a minute. I thought you guys were on Shippuden.
Yeah, we
We
are.
are.
We are.
So you restarted?
No, it's a flashback episode.
Okay.
It's
gotcha.
a filler.
Okay. Well.
It's. I'm not sure if it's just the show waiting for the manga to like catch up, but it's just like Naruto's on the way to meet B. At least where I'm at. Colby's like 20 episodes ahead of me.
Okay, so he needs to wait.
But like Naruto's on the way to B, and so it's just like a lot of like, this is why Naruto is like great in like the village, and it's
It's just trying to like remind you of the good old days.
Yeah.
So we'll get to you in a minute, Colby. I think we've all tasted the beer. I'm gonna go first. This is the worst beer I've ever had in my whole freaking life.
It's pretty bad.
That is putrid.
Okay, so my
that is so bad.
and the only thing it's got going for it is that it's dry,
Yeah,
but it's got like a metallic-y aftertaste.
yeah, but there's no like. It's just, like that is.
I don't even know if I want to finish this one.
Bad.
This-
I mean,
The smell, when you first smell it, it smells like a wet dog.
yeah. I mean, it does. It does have kind of a.
That's
does,
a really good like.
It doesn't
like,
smell good.
like
I mean-
damp hay.
What did you think,
Yeah.
Abby? I made you smell it. You didn't taste it. What did you think of the smell?
Not good
Not
at
good.
all.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Ugh.
You know what it kind of tastes like? It tastes like a failed attempt at homebrew. Did Iron Maiden make this themselves? Because that's kind of what it
let's
tastes
see.
like.
It says their vocalist worked with the brewmasters to develop this beer, which it says it has a true depth of character.
Oh my god! Yeah, gross and freaking tainted by sin and God knows what.
It's pretty. This is pretty bad.
I'm gonna finish it just out of respect, and that's the rule: is any beer we open, we have to finish, no matter
All
how
right.
bad it is. So
Down
you
the hatch,
just
then.
down the hatch. Oh my god, that's so bad. Actually, I mean that's actually better, like with a bigger taste. But still, I mean
Ugh.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
The only one worse than this I've had is Sitting Pretty.
What brewery is that?
That's Odell, which I'm an Odell fanboy.
Okay, gotcha. And you still don't like it? It's still pretty gross.
It's like it's like 50-50 whether you like it or not. It seems like Andy really likes it. A couple other people I met really like it, but it's just a really weird sour. It's not like a sour. It's just real earthy and just. Ugh.
Gotcha. Yeah, I might have to have that one. That might have to be a future episode. We'll try that one out. So, Colby, what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. Just working and such.
Working and watching Naruto.
Yeah.
Abby, what about you?
Working. Finished my last final for college yesterday, so get the summer now.
She's a free woman now.
You're free and ready to go.
Don't ever say that again.
But you did just turn 19, so you
Oh.
are a woman.
A
Yeah.
woman.
I have been 19 for 2 days.
19 is honestly like one of those weird things because it's like that weird intermittent period where you're not 18 because 18 is like the worst year of your life.
So Colby and I have mixed feelings about this.
Okay, we need to go around the room then. Is 19 really that bad? Or is 18 really that bad?
So,
but before that, before you get into that, I want to say like 19 is like kind of like the upscale a little bit. Like it's like the upscale because you finally start like you're out of school, you finally like you've got a little bit of life under your belt, you know, like you're kind of doing the thing and you're getting more credibility, but it's still like people still treat you like you're in kindergarten for quite some time. So just get used to it because that's just how it is.
For Colby and I, we thought 17 was the worst. And then 18 was like instantly better. So it was like 17 was like down here. And 18's up here, and then 19's like
in the middle,
like halfway between.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
that's how we felt about it.
I don't know. I feel like I was busy though a lot whenever I was 19, doing like a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it depends on like what you're doing as well. I think it can also, like, I didn't go to college, obviously. If you look at the way I'm dressed. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't go to college, so I didn't really have that feeling of. Like in school, like you're in kindergarten first, right? And then you go on to middle school and like you're always like on the bottom of the food chain, like forever. Yeah. And then once you get out of school, you're just at the bottom of the food chain in life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I feel like adding like I said, I can't speak from experience because I didn't go to college, but like I feel like college is just like a precursor to how life is. Like you're on the bottom of the totem pole again. But I also think that anyone that goes to school, seeks higher education and stuff like that, like it's not the same type of school because like you're an adult in school now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I went to school, so I would say it depends on your, what you're studying. But I mean, for personal experience, engineering, being a freshman, I didn't feel like I was at the bottom of the food chain. I felt like I was, pretty level fielded with most everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good to know. So there you go. You have some firsthand experience, Abby. You don't have to be worried about anything. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess I made a sculpture out of trash for
she did
for one of my projects, so I don't really think
it was pretty
the
awesome.
two of us.
Yeah, it's kind of different.
Matched.
Engineering, trash sculpture. You can get a degree with both.
Hey, let's clear the record. I didn't fail, but I did not continue engineering school. I went on to be a drafter, which is like an engineer's stupid stepbrother. So.
Whenever you got to a point where you're like, I don't want to be in school anymore, did you kind of have that feeling of like, I know I'm still going to be successful. Like, I know I'm not really missing out on anything, like by not finishing, like, cause you could find success in like the field that you're going into.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I picked something that is extremely similar to what I wanted, what I was originally going to school for. And, it required a lot less schooling, a lot less, I guess, not necessarily work, but a lot less, like dedication to like hardcore grinding.
Yeah.
And I get to do basically basically the same exact stuff as all the other engineers at my work. I just get compensated way less, which
whatever
is what it is. I mean,
how much money do you need? You know what I mean? Like that's the question I've been asking myself lately. Like how much money do you really need?
Like I'm not making boatloads of money, but also I mean I get enough that I'm pretty happy. So
yeah, that's all you can want. Like money doesn't make you happy, you know. But the things you can do with it,
yeah,
that's no,
well. I mean,
I'm just joking. I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Colby, now there's no college course for hanging blinds, correct?
No, I didn't go to college
to be a blind hanger.
No,
he took a 2-week-long class at woodworking though.
I did do.
You do whittle. We established this last time. He's a whittler.
Yep. So after I graduated high school, I went up to Boston with my Uncle Tom, and we took a week-long class to learn how to do like chisel type carving. So old style, like using chisels and mallets and stuff like that to carve. And That was pretty neat.
That's cool.
That'd be about the only schooling after school that I ever actually had. So,
And you really don't. I mean,
But the school of hard knocks.
the school of the streets, son.
yeah.
All right, enough of the two brother. Clay and Colby can shut up. Abby, what have you been up to?
Just working with kids.
Yeah,
At the old Shul house.
Oh yes.
sure. Now, do you have any like fandoms that are worth mentioning? Really, I mean, what are you into?
I mean, I'm into Avatar quite a bit and Legends of Korra. The look in your eyes.
No,
Okay.
I'm processing everything you're
Okay.
saying.
Okay. I know quite a bit about that.
Yeah.
Colby's already had too much to drink. No, so you're into like the American anime type stuff?
I mean, I guess I hadn't had time this last semester to really watch or do anything except for go to school and go to work. So, I do have a lot of kids telling me that I need to get into Naruto and My Hero Academia. So,
Yeah, I would say start with My Hero, honestly, like because I'm to the point. I'm into season 4 now, and right now currently it's just season 5. Like season 5 is like week to week, and man, like that's a good show. Like I would say honestly, if you're a fan of American animation and you're wanting to get like into anime, like the broad spectrum of what anime is, I think that My Hero is the place to start. Like definitively is the place to start for sure.
Yeah, that or One Punch. One Punch is pretty easy to get into.
Yeah, One
too.
Punch is pretty cool. From what I've seen, I haven't watched all of it, but
Neither Colby has. I haven't watched all of it either.
You're a fool.
I've only seen what's on Toonami.
You're both fools.
Is that what he says?
There's a guy
Oh.
in there. He's like one of the S rank heroes. And what is his name? He's got a baseball bat.
Oh,
Like that's his power. Is he just hits stuff with a baseball bat?
can't-
Metal bat. It's
Metal Bat. Yes, his name is Metal Bat.
That's like one of their S rank heroes. And his name is Metal Bat, and all he does is hit things with a metal baseball bat.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Metal Bat. Oh god. Oh, back to Abby, since we're totally taking the conversation. You've gotten used to this having these two brothers, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Do you play games at all? Like, because we're gonna have another discussion right after this one about art and video games. Because you're going to school to be an art teacher, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what your thoughts are on that. I hope you can be invited back on the show. You know what I mean?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It'll be fine.
She might have to take a sabbatical.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you though here, Abby. I think it's actually kind of funny. I was explaining to my wife, I was like, yeah, Abby's gonna show up for every episode of Beer Bros, and she goes, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be awesome because she's like our fact checker, and Emma just looks at me and she goes, but Abby can't drink. And I was like, oh my God, she has to deal with us being idiots while we drink. And she just has to sit there and like take it. You know what I mean?
Oh, she's silently judging us the entire time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or,
I mean,
or not silently judging us.
yeah, she might hour just say like that we suck. You know what I mean? So
It depends on our conversation about video games.
yeah, that'll be an interesting because we were joking like you are your dad's daughter, and he is like he put a post on Facebook the other day which I thought was super interesting. He said, "Real men have toolboxes and Xbox rather than Xboxes." To which I replied, "I've made money with both my toolbox and my Xbox." So I guess I said I guess I'm really a man then, So that he never replied to it, but
Yeah, my dad was probably like, Gabe.
yeah, he's like, oh, whatever, Gabe. You know what I mean? No, I get triggered by the silliest things. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just like gonna go keyboard warrior and just gonna you're not gonna tell me what's what.
I mean, you are related to Tony Fast.
Yep, that's my dad. Oh my God. So what else has been up in your world though, Abby?
Not much. It's literally it.
I mean, if you're teaching, or not teaching, you're doing the after school program stuff. I mean, that probably keeps you pretty busy.
Yeah, I go to work at 6:15 in the morning to 8:15 in the morning, and then I'm off for like 5 hours, and then I go back to work at 2:30. So I start with elementary kids, and I finish with middle schoolers, and that's always a fun time.
The whole spectrum.
The
Oh.
entire spectrum. Tell Siri to shut up. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to get into our topic tonight. Abby, thanks for contributing to the conversation. It means a lot. I'm excited to get into our topic tonight, and this was not picked by anyone. This is just something we came up with by ourselves, and I think Now is the time to kind of get into just a little bit of the spiel, you know. If you want to support Wannabe Critic Productions in a bigger way, you can give us suggestions of things to talk about on Twitter. Like that would be a really good way to support the show, is give us something that you want us to hear us talk about. You can also head over to patreon.com/wannabecritic to give your support that way, should you so desire. If you don't have a couple bucks to toss the way of the Wannabe Critics production house, then that's fine. Really all we could ask for is that you're here listening to the show. So thank you so much. But our topic for this evening is Disney ruining Star Wars. This has been a topic of discussion on umptillion podcasts. This has been driven into the ground. And I just thought, you know, are we to the point, has everyone watched The Bad Batch so far? Have you watched the first couple episodes?
I've watched episode 1 and 2, yeah.
I've watched the first 2 episodes as well. Colby?
I got through half of the 3rd episode today, but it was too dark for me to actually watch it while I was working, so I haven't finished it yet.
Have you watched any of it, Abby?
Nope.
She's been busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen any of it. So we're about to spoil some of this for you.
Have you watched the 7th season of Clone Wars?
No.
Okay, she hasn't watched Clone Wars.
Oh my God.
Abby doesn't.
She's not going to get offended by our spoilers.
Okay. well,
Abby's a
whatever.
casual fan. She's
Okay.
a filthy casual.
You filthy casual. That's okay. Well, the show's the Beer Bros anyways, and that's about time for us to open up our second beer probably. You know, what do we have on the docket for number 2?
Let's see. We'll start with a beer I bought 2 months ago when I was on our way to Moab. I bought this in Colorado, in Cortez at the Walmart. It's called the Tempter IPA India Pale Ale, and it's by Telluride Brewing Company.
Okay, there you have it. It looks like it says established in 2011, brewed high, 8750. You know what I mean? Apparently we're eating cookies on the podcast. I don't want one. I don't make my throat dry.
We're opening a beer.
No, it's fine. It'll be fine. Brewed and canned by Telluride, Colorado, named after one of the most epic backcountry ski runs in the Rockies. This American IPA tempts you to dive into boldness. Deep flavors are created by balancing rich malts with robust hops. So good it takes you out of bounds. Cheers. Okay, well, hopefully it's better than that stinking Iron Maiden beer. You know what I mean?
I have had this one before.
Okay, you have had it before.
It's pretty good. I won't spoil it for you until you take a drink.
Good God.
It's about as good as these nuts.
Oh my God, Colby. You get a less of a pour since you already had it before. In your face. So I want to dive into this topic, and you guys can go ahead while you guys are finishing your cookies, because I don't want you to be.
No
you
ASMRs
know,
on this podcast.
Yeah, and then in the microphone. So I'm going to give my opinion on this, and then we can go from there. So my feeling on is Disney ruining Star Wars. I don't think they're ruining Star Wars, because we've been in the Disney sphere for what? It's been since like the end of 2014, right? When they bought it.
Yeah. So 15 was the first movie.
Right.
I saw it my senior year of high school.
Yeah. So 2015, we had The Force Awakens. 3 years later, we had Last Jedi. And then just last year, right? 2020, we had Rise of Skywalker. Or was
Christmas 2019.
Christmas 2019 was Rise of Skywalker. Wow, it's been that long already.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Okay. So to get this out of the way, because, you know, I think for the most part, a lot of good things have come out of the Disney sphere as well since Disney's taken over. You know, let's take it from the game aspect first. You know, Jedi Fallen Order came out of the Disney sphere.
Great game.
Rebels has come out of the Disney sphere as well. Season 7 of Clone Wars. Now we have the Bad Batch, right? And we have all the Mandalorian. I mean, you know, there's been some pretty good things that have come out of Disney. And the most polarizing thing has been the 3 Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah.
So here's how I feel. I feel like it's one of those things to where all they care about, I don't think that they really care about, and I think it was Caleb that put this really good. They're not really focused on appeasing old time fans.
It's a cash cow.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's a cash cow, but I mean, they're focusing on the best way to sell to children.
Yeah.
And I also think that by adding all these other series and stuff like that and giving us things like The Mandalorian, it's like that's what they're catering to, like the older audience there, like who obviously doesn't think that The Mandalorian is awesome, but like putting someone like Luke Skywalker, it's like there could be a good chance that kids might not even know, who Luke Skywalker really even is. You know what I mean? Or really realize the gravity of how big his character is.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what school of thought you're on, you can argue he's the chosen one.
Well, depending on what school of thought you're on. I mean, Lauren did tell Knox that guy is Luke Skywalker, and so he called every stormtrooper Luke Skywalker.
which, for reference, he's like 7. So,
Oh, gotcha.
9.
oh, is he 9?
Well,
Well,
he was
no,
like
he was 7 whenever she told him
at the
that.
time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a personal experience, a personal anecdote.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, I think if anything, they're trying to set up themselves to make as much money as possible without really. They know they're gonna get the money of the kids that are watching, right? But I also think now they're being more methodical with trying to piss the old school fans off less. But
Yeah.
in doing so, here's the thing. In doing so, you have all these old Star Wars fans that had the prequels and had the original trilogy, and that was it, and the books.
Which the main people that are mad were crotchety about the prequels, I would like to say, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I also think there is an audience of people like my friend Ethan Maestri who loved the prequels, and that's a big part of Star Wars for him, was being at the Phantom Menace, in the theater, and it's like I loved the prequels and loved that time period and stuff like that. But
Not to age myself, but that is the very first movie I remember watching as a kid.
yeah, it's definitely one of the first ones
in the movie theater.
It's one of the first ones I remember for sure. So I can see it. That's the thing about the Star Wars audience, is it is so all over the place, and it is so toxic. Like, I put out a video the other day about the Bad Batch, and I was like, "Is the Bad Batch going to flop?" was the title of the video, and it mostly kind of came out of the second episode felt very lackluster to me. It just did not.
It did not hit as hard as the first one did.
Yeah, and I mean, it was mostly meant to evoke emotion with that title, is like,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was a total throwback to the hardcore Clone Wars fans. I mean,
yeah, for sure. But if you haven't watched Clone Wars,
who doesn't? I mean, if you've watched it, like, that was a pivotal, like, plot mover was cut. I mean, a clone that is leaving the war. I mean, what?
yeah.
I mean, the whole point of the clones was that they're no better than droids. Basically, that's why they had them battling the droids.
Yeah, easily disposable and very easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it, but that was the thing for me, is it was kind of a crazy concept with cut, but it also didn't hit for me back in the Clone Wars. And we talk with great fervor about the Clone Wars. Like, we talk we love Dave Filoni. I'm talking about the other members of the other guys for the week, the other the movie show that we do, and the show the show review show that we do. But my main concern was there was still shortcomings kind of to that series, and I think and I think the shortcomings with the whole Disney thing, kind of trying to get us back on track here, is that it's not that the content isn't good. It's not that there is too much. Is kind of how I feel, and I get it's like, oh, we got to have a show for Ahsoka, we got to have the Acolyte, and there's all this other stuff, but then what pisses me off is here's one of my biggest concerns. Okay. So we all know Knights of the Republic was not canon for X amount of time.
No.
But now there was this thing of like Knights of the Republic being remade.
I did hear that, yeah.
But there's also rumblings of, is this a remake or is this just a remaster? Because Knights of the Republic, I guess there's some sort of agreement between BioWare and because the Old Republic is still a long-going game that is not affiliated with Disney at all. Like,
right.
BioWare kind of has sole proprietary rights over that.
Yeah, because you had Coder, and then you had Old Republic, which was a MMO.
Yeah, which is still going. It's still super strong. Like, there's a bunch of players on that platform still. So that's kind of where it gets money for me. Is like, well, if Knights of the Republic is going to be a remake, does that make Knights of the Republic canon now? You know what I mean? And it's also that thing of, because everything that's supposed to be coming out is supposed to be canon. It's like, okay, well, why are you going to have Knights of the Old Republic be canon as well as all this High Republic stuff coming out?
Right.
That's confusing.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you could argue that Knights of the Old Republic would still take place before High Republic. But
yeah, but that's the thing, is we have no other content to cross-reference. And I think that's the biggest thing, is there's so much and there's just so many dollar signs, and I do think that they're trying to cover their tracks as much as possible to where it's like not that big of a deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Well, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau kind of pissed on the parade for the whole High Republic era.
What did they say?
Well, just that was supposed to be Lucasfilm's like flagship, but the whole Mandalorian season 2 and now the Bad Batch and all these other storylines are kind of overshadowing that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but, people, and that's another thing too. When on screen High Republic content starts rolling out, your average Star Wars fan is going to be lost. Abby is going to be lost. She's like, now what? Like, when is this going to happen? Like,
how does this tie in?
How does this tie in and why does this matter?
Right.
And I think that's kind of what is, and
which, starting with Rogue One, it didn't involve any characters that we'd seen before.
It kind of started there, it kind
of,
yeah.
You had, Death Star. Okay, that's the anchor point. Solo. Oh, Han Solo. That's the anchor point.
Yeah.
Now we're venturing into territory that's to people who have seen Star Wars but aren't devoted fans. They're going to be confused.
Well, that's where we started with the Mandalorian, and that turned out great. So who's to say that High Republic isn't going to be pretty cool too?
Yeah, it's true, and I'm not saying my more recent approach these days has been trying to be like approach things from a casual / modern viewpoint, because Star Wars fans cannot be casual with the franchise. It's not possible. So for me, going into it, it's like, how would a casual viewer watch this? The Bad Batch? Why kids and hardcore fans are watching the Bad Batch? That's it.
It's the Clone Wars that no one asked for.
Yeah, basically. But really.
I think it's good. I think it's great.
I think the first episode was awesome.
Yeah.
The second episode, I was like, I literally uttered the words, "Wow, that sucked," at the end of the second episode. And guess what? I'm not hot on the third. I'm not like waiting till midnight like I was with WandaVision, to like watch it each day, each new week that it came out. I just don't care. Like, I'm going to watch it because let's talk about it. I freaking run a nerd show.
Right.
So I have to watch it. But it's one of those things, man, where I'm just like, there's too much content. There's too much Star Wars. Like, there's too much happening right now for me. And I'm curious to know what you guys think about it.
Just in comparison in terms of Marvel stuff, there is not as much Star Wars in my opinion. I don't necessarily think it's too much. I think that they're spacing it out enough that I think it's at a good pace, personally.
For Star Wars?
I think so.
So you don't think that having a Star Wars property out every single year kind of cheapens it?
Not necessarily, because each property is kind of going its own lane.
But it all has Star Wars on it. You
Correct.
know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan, so I'm going to eat it up no matter what.
And that's the thing I've always said on the podcast. Like, I'm not poo-pooing on it. I'm just attacking. I'm being devil's advocate, and so we can have, the facet of conversation. Like,
okay, so put it this way, like, I'm not nearly as excited about like Bad Batch coming out, or the next season of Mandalorian, or the High Republic movies, as I was like The Force Awakens. When The Force Awakens came out, I was like, frick yeah, like, new Star Wars hasn't been new Star Wars since like 2008 or whatever. 2005,
yeah.
Revenge
of the Sith.
Yeah. Like, that was a long span. I got really excited.
Now
I'm not as excited, but I'm like I said, I'm eating it up.
Yeah. No, I get it. And I want to kind of pivot to Colby and kind of before we move on, because we're going to talk about the prequels here in a second. The sequels here in a second. How do you feel about, the topic at hand right now? Do you feel, go for it.
As it goes, and the topic being is Disney ruining Star Wars. I don't think Disney is ruining Star Wars as a whole, and I don't know that we necessarily have too much content. I definitely don't want more content as it's coming out, but I think what Disney is doing is ruining our idea of what Star Wars should have been. Disney needs to get away from the Skywalker saga completely and stop adding to it or stop trying to make storylines off of it and go with a new route. Even if they have to draw from Legends or go with something completely new, it's going to make a lot more people a lot more happy, and you're going to have a much more original and real story than trying to build off of George Lucas's original saga, which was the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, and I mean, so you're kind of in the camp too of like,
I think there's one person that gets George Lucas, and I think that's Dave Filoni. And I think that there are two camps in the Lucasfilm industry and fandom. You have Team Kathleen Kennedy and Team Filoni and Jon Favreau. And I don't think that necessarily either one is right or wrong, but I'm of the more old school Filoni crowd. And I think once like Colby said, I think once Lucasfilm starts diverging away from, George Lucas's ideas specifically, I think we'll see a happier fan base.
You have anything to add to that, Colby?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm thinking too. I mean, I just had my thought and I lost it. It'll come back to me. Just go ahead.
Abby, do you have anything to add to this?
I'm gonna agree. I think there's just a lot of content saturating the whole series of Star Wars. And taking this from my job where I work with elementary kids and middle school kids, a lot of these kids are watching Rebels and the new stuff that's being produced, but they don't understand the lore of the prequels, the originals, and the sequels. They're just jumping in at any point because, oh, it's on Disney Plus, oh, it's animated, or whatever, and that's kind of missing, and they don't quite understand where it all
They're not getting the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and I got my thought back now, is Star Wars was created, I mean, even in 1977, it was for kids. The Phantom Menace, even though it really pissed off all the original trilogy fans, it was made more towards kids. And now the sequel trilogy, personally, I think it's okay, but it's not my favorite, but it's geared towards kids, the generation after me watching it, so Rey is their Anakin to me, whereas Anakin would have been
the Luke for the original fans.
Right. So it all is generational, and we don't agree with the way that the changes have been made for every generation, but at the end of the day, it's still Star Wars, and even though we may not think it's the way it should have been for all our own thoughts and the pedestals we put Star Wars on, it is still Star Wars, and we can all enjoy it to some degree.
Yeah, and I think you touched on something really good, because I think I'm kind of in the same boat as Clay. Like, I watch it and I will consume it, and I will enjoy facets of it. But the thing about Star Wars that apparently makes people mad and no one wants to acknowledge is the fact that it has a lot of things wrong with it. Every single movie, every single property is full of inconsistency and is, it's well, that's kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Albeit all the good stuff that's in it, there is even in The Mandalorian, which I think is probably, it's kind of turning into my favorite Star Wars period, is The Mandalorian. It's just so good. There's still all this stuff wrong with it. Mm-hmm. And I think in doing... but there's still a certain specialness to it, or there used to be. Even though the movies were so polarizing, it's oh my God, but we're getting more Star Wars. You can still have your Star Wars and the stuff that you liked whenever you were a kid. You can whoever you are, you can still have that. And I don't know. I have to ask the question: where do we all stand on the sequels? Because I love the sequels. I really do. Clay,
I like the sequels. I need to go back and watch Episode 9 again. But that was probably my least favorite of the three. That being said, I like them almost equally as the prequels.
See, I like them just a little bit more, but I still hold it in high regard, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. And then I go back to the OG, and I'm yeah, this is awesome, but at the same time, like, what were they saying about the comparison? You know, what were they saying about Return of the Jedi versus Empire? Because it's two wildly different movies. I feel like we hold the OG trilogy as like the Empire of movies,
Right.
and then the sequel trilogy just feels like three different versions of like Return of the Jedi, basically, like kind of like the popcorn, like less deep,
Yeah.
you know, trilogy, and that's fine. But like we all still love Return of the Jedi, so why can't we hold the sequels to the same regard? You
Yeah.
know, and I don't know. How do you feel about the sequels, Colby?
I like them. They're okay, and I really could rewatch them with a more open mind. First viewing, and I've probably only seen The Rise of Skywalker 1.5 times, just because I was not. I honestly I didn't really like it the first time I saw it, to be honest. But I hold, you know, to me the prequels are my Star Wars, and it just the inconsistencies between the three movies, you know. And that's what we had with even the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. You know, even though they were a little bit different and even different from each other, there was still a pretty decent thread running through all of them. It was still the same story, even though they were all a little bit different movies. Even Return of the Jedi, even though it was kind of off in left field, it still had the same thread through it. The sequel trilogies just felt like it was going straight and then just way the heck over here and then
Yeah.
kind of back this way, but not quite in line with the way that The Force Awakens was. And so it's not my favorite, but it is still Star Wars and I still enjoy it. With a more open mind, I think I could come around to it.
Okay, I appreciate the honesty there. Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat with Colby. You know, we're close enough in age to where the prequels were it for me, you know. And it's not that I didn't like the sequels, it's just that childhood nostalgia that was around it. That's basically what sways me.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys being upfront and honest about it, because a big thing that people who hate the sequels like to say is like, oh, well, you weren't there for the prequels. And it's like, yes, I was. I grew up with the prequels, and I
Right.
still preferred the original trilogy over the prequels, which is saying something.
Well, okay, so something I prefer in the prequels rather than even the original series or the sequels that I think is getting expounded on in Bad Batch more is I love all of the politics and the nitty-gritty of like the prequels.
Yeah, I think the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch really kind of expands. I think that's the most fascinating period of time.
Yeah. Like how Palpatine is behind the scenes using the politics of the broken republic to his own nefarious plans. Like I love it.
Yeah. Well,
And like the transition of power between the Republic and to the Empire that you see in the Bad Batch
yeah,
is so good.
it's really cool. It really is. And I mean, go ahead, Colby.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that's where I differ between you guys. The space politics just bores me. What interests me is the use of the Force and the way that it all works. And even in Legends, my favorite time period was the Old Republic. So to me, that's where we get to understand
Where they're still kind of developing like the mythos of what the Force is.
right,
And
what is the Force
Yeah.
actually, and all the Jedi and the way that the Jedi Order works. That to me is
at
the
its
most
best. Like
Yeah.
the Old Republic was like peak Republic.
right,
Yeah.
and that is more interesting to me, and we get that in the prequels. And obviously, I watched the prequels before I got into the Legends books and all that. But I mean, to me, that just is a more interesting part of Star Wars than the Republic era. I had a really hard time reading all the Legends books of even the Clone Wars all the way up through the Empire and the aftermath of the Empire.
Yeah. Well
Oh.
said.
That was my goal for a while, was to read every single Legends book.
God, good luck.
I got through a lot of them, but I didn't get through all.
Did you
of
get to the Yuzhan Vong new Jedi or new Jedi Order?
them. So you'll call me stupid, but like that's the only part of the Legends I didn't read.
Seriously?
I read a lot of the Old Republic, and then I read like crap. What was that? Like I think it was Crossfade or something like that.
So I think you read the Aftermath book, and then you read, which is right after the Empire,
Yeah,
and then you read the Cross Current. I think.
Yeah, Cross Current and the one after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also read all of the Fate of the Jedi, which is like
the very end
of Legends.
Wow, and you didn't read any of the.
But I skipped all of the Yuuzhan Vong.
Wow. Okay. Right on. I haven't read that much of it, but I've been reading the comic series based around the time that was happening. Man, the Yuuzhan Vong, like easily the best bad guys in Star Wars.
Those
ever.
guys were BA.
So cool. Like
so
really,
OP,
really cool.
So OP.
So really, like just seeing them just murk a Jedi with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was like the jock beating up on the nerd, like
Yeah.
in high school is what it was. It was like intense. It was insane. Well, I feel like we've talked the subject. We've been talking for a little under an hour now at this point, altogether. And by the way, we all finished our beer. What do we think of the beer?
So this one is one of the hoppier forward West Coast IPAs I've had in a long time. I also think it's an interesting beer because you get like first taste, it's like all malt, but then on the back end, you get all the bitterness of the West Coast hops.
It's like all dry, I agree. What did you think, Colby?
I've had this one before, same as Clay.
Excuse me.
Allergies,
my bad.
Coronavirus. It's real. Anyway, I had it before, and you might remember from last time, IPAs aren't really my thing, but it's pretty good. It's drinkable for me. It's a little bit more bitter than I like, which is interesting considering I liked the Arrogant Bastard beer so much. I had that this last week or so.
From Stone?
Yep.
It's so much more bitter than this one, and I liked it better than this IPA, but I couldn't really tell you the reason why. I'm not as beer savvy as you and Clay.
I think that's a good sign, though. Honestly, that you liked the fruitier stuff, and you also like the more bitter stuff, because I think that's developing your palate to where now, whenever you have like a really high quality like double IPA, for our 10th episode here, we're gonna hear ye. For our 10th episode, we're gonna open up a Dogfish Head 120, and we're gonna share it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So I got about 4 in the cellar right now.
If we can come up with some 90 minutes, we should do a whole flight.
A
60, 90, 120.
Yeah, that'd be a good like special episode, and we can have like a really good topic.
I did that with Wet Night one time.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I don't know if he listens to the show. He's also a friend of ours. Yeah, for ladies and gentlemen, these newbies are new. They're new to podcast etiquette. So, we might mention so and so, and it's not that big of a deal. We'll just let you know. It's like it's a friend of ours. As a friend. I don't think does he listen to anything we do?
I don't know.
I hope he listens to this. That'd be rad.
I hope he does too.
Yeah. No, that'd be good. That'd be cool.
He did sponsor one of the previous episodes we did a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, like the initial Beer Bros batch of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a couple
those
of
are the
beers.
3 Floyds.
Yeah, the 3 Floyds. Yeah, that's what we had. So very cool. I liked the beer, very dry. I would never pick that out of. I would never order that again. I didn't dislike it. I don't like dry beer that much.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't one of my favorites either. I like West Coast IPAs. I definitely appreciated it. I thought it was interesting, but it is a little like as I started drinking beer, I went for the West Coast. Now I'm kind of more middle of the road towards New England style. And so it probably, given the choice, I wouldn't order it again either.
Yeah, I mean, I think West Coast is just really hard to do because it can end up being just not great, And I think if I'm going to order, like, a hazy IPA, hazy IPAs, New England style IPAs, those for the most part are going to be semi-similar. You're going to get something kind of fruity, right? Yeah. But with West Coast, it can be so much. It's either bitter or like really pine forward, or just just weird.
Well, it's how craft beer has evolved. Craft beer really started hitting its stride in, I would say, late 90s, early 2000s, and that's what you had. Craft beer was West Coast IPAs. But as time has gone on, at least American beer has opened up its palate to different flavorings and different hop profiles. And so you've gotten more of the floral and citrus hops built in, and more. There's a greater audience for that kind of beer flavor now.
Yeah, that's well said. Well said and well founded. Nice. And Abby didn't get to try it because she, once again, she is not of age. But I'm feeling good and loosened up for our next episode. It's going to be great. But we have to answer the question: Is Disney ruining Star Wars? Clay, what do you think?
I don't think Disney is ruining it. I think certain properties might darken or subtract from it, but I don't think as a whole it's being ruined.
Colby?
I'm going to stick with my original. I mean, Disney's not necessarily ruining Star Wars as a whole. It's just ruining our idea of what Star Wars could have been or should be because we have it on such a high pedestal.
I'm going to piggyback off of that and say the more you have, the more properties you have, the better chance you have of having one of those things be bad and suck.
It's just sheer numbers. The rule, I mean...
You can't have everything work.
Right. Rule of odds. I mean, something's going to flop.
Yeah, and that's the thing is there was a time period where we would have held Star Wars in such high esteem overall. It would have been like, it's Star Wars, so it's inherently good.
Yeah.
And that time has passed. It's flown by a long time ago. So I don't think they're ruining it, but I do think that it's way more easy for the name of Star Wars to somewhat be tarnished because they thought it was a good idea to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
So there's that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of Beer Bros in the can. Colby, Clay, Abby, thank you so much. Abby, thank you for just enjoying, contributing to the conversation. It's been great. It'll be a little more vocal in the next episode, I think. So our two beers this evening, we had the Iron Maiden beer, which was called what?
The Trooper.
We had the Trooper, and then what was the second beer called?
The Tempter IPA.
The Tempter. There you have it. And we'll have that. We'll have those beers listed down below. Of course, you can get in touch with us by emailing us at thewannabecollective@gmail.com. You can find me on all social media platforms because I do run all the socials for Wannabe Critic Productions. So you can follow me. I'm Gabriel Fast. I do claim to be the Wannabe Critic. That's all you got to do is search that on any social platform. That's where it is. Find us on YouTube. Here's the deal. If you're listening to the show right now on your podcasting service of choice and you're in the car and you can pull over, you're already listening. You're already invested. Pull over. Go to YouTube. The YouTube app. If the YouTube app isn't on your phone, what the heck? Go to the YouTube app.
I mean, you can still get it in the browser.
Yeah, you can. Find us, the Wannabe Collective. There's a variety of shows. All the group content is going to go here. So Game Club's going to be posted here. Even like stuff like Nostalgia Trip with the ladies of Wannabe Critic Productions is going to be here. Who Would Win? All the group stuff is all going to be here. Please, we need your subscriptions. We'd really appreciate it. Clay, Colby, Abby, where can people find you?
Let's see. I'm Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Clay V1.
Clay V1, TikTok. Yeah, there you have it.
If you want to see some...
If you want to see some sweet guitar riffs.
I was going to say mediocre, but yeah.
You're so humble. Where can people find you, Colby?
You can find me on Instagram or Facebook, but I'm not active at all as far as posting stuff. So you're not going to see anything except for like the last picture from 2015 on Instagram and nothing on Facebook.
So you can find, if you want to get in touch with Colby, you can email us at the Wannabe Collective.
Yep.
Or like a smoke signal.
Yeah,
Good.
there you go.
You can write him a letter.
Yeah, you can write him. You can send him. An email.
Postage.
Send me. What is it? Send me an eagle with a letter.
Yeah,
like Thor.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. A raven. Send a raven.
Send me a raven.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Abby, where can people find you?
Instagram or Facebook, but I'm never on Facebook, so probably don't try that.
There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Beer Bros from the Wannabe Collective. Until next time, we will see you. Say goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Adios.